Good evening. This is the Smartphone Photographers Weekly Hangout. We call it Point and Shoot. I know what you're thinking. Boy, that doesn't look like the guy that normally introduces the show. He looks an awful lot like some rapper that I can never remember the name of. Anyway, that's Mr. Ant Pruitt. He's off this evening. I am filling in the big chair. My name is Joey Kelly. I am a photographer here in the Smartphone Photographers group. And with me this evening is Mr. Michael King, all the way down there in Texas. And we just came up with a new nickname for him. We're going to call him the Tornado. Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a photographer, plus a rail fan and a member of HOG.
And that would be what?
The Houston Area Apple Users Group. And also I'm a member of the Gulf Coast chapter of the National Historical Railroad Society.
And I could tell you about all the stuff I do, but no one cares. So I'm just going to not. Yeah.
And Northwest Crossing Railroad Club.
Yeah. Anyway, so tonight we are here to talk about our smartphones and the photos that we have taken with them. For those of you that are not aware, a smartphone, as defined by this group, is any device resembling something like this. This is a Nexus 6. It must be a phone or tablet, some sort of touchscreen device, and its primary function is not actually supposed to be as a camera. It should be as a interactive media device that happens to have a camera. For these purposes, we do not include the cameras, for instance, I think it's Sony has one and Nikon may have one, that actually run the Android operating system to take their pictures, but have a traditional zoom lens or something else like that. So we exclude those. These are specifically phones and tablets. So that would be classically your iPhone, your iPad. We'll even take an iPod Touch. Hold on a moment. Somebody's trying to call in. Oh, let me just kill that. All right. Sorry about
Who
that.
is it?
That was not somebody that was trying to call into the Hangout. That was something completely different. That's the one downside, folks, of using Google Project Fi as your phone provider. It's integrated with Google Hangout, so when someone tries to call you on your phone, it rings in through your computer and then causes you to get 14 million rings. So anyway, moving right along. Mike, would you mind telling us a little bit about what this week's challenge was?
Before I can figure it out, it was rainbows, whether it be actual physical rainbows or rainbow colored anything. Cans, pictures, whatever, paint. That's the only thing I can think of. Rainbow jerseys.
Yeah, we had that discussion off air, and the rainbow jersey doesn't really look all that rainbowish. But hey, names get stuck on things, so who the heck knows? But anyway, so yes, the description for this week was of the challenge was very simple. Capture a photo with a lot of colors. It can be a rainbow if you have one to take a picture of, and make it varying colors and not be cluttered or full of distractions. One of the things that we are emphasizing, please, pretty please, tell us about what you're shooting it with and any post-processing that you're doing with it. Post-processing, by the way, is editing after the fact. That includes, by the way, apps such as Snapseed done on the phone. We want to know what you're doing to tweak these photos to get these looks, because simply put, this group is not just about showing everybody how pretty their photos are, but it's also about learning and the techniques behind the edits and behind everything else. Yeah. I, for one, know that I personally have picked up a lot of tips on post-processing from people just in these Hangouts. Let alone looking at comments on pictures and whatnot. Sometimes that's what not to do, but what not to do. But sometimes it's very much what you should do. Anyway, so let's get right to it here. I'm going to
speaking of editing. Also, if the last resort, you can actually edit in a Chrome browser.
Yep.
Whether it be a tablet, whatever, or on your computer, but you can edit there too if you need to. It's last resort.
Yep. There's many different editors. We talked a little bit about this last week, what we all do for editing, and there's a lot of commercial editors out there. There's a lot of free editors out there. There's a lot of people that are very fanboy or fangirl-ish about a particular product, and they view that it is the absolute best. Personally, having done software and IT support for many years, almost 2 decades, I can tell you that oftentimes there's no correct solution, but there's a correct solution for a particular circumstance or a particular user. So for me, free software works best because I generally don't want to bother to pay for it. For other people that are doing production, a lot of work, sometimes a paid editor because of its one-touch fixes and its fast workflow, that's better. So we'll see. But let's jump right into it here this week. I'm going to share out my screen, and I'm going to pull up the Smartphone Photographer's Rainbow Hangout. And I like to start off with this one here. This is by Jen R., or Jen Rear, apparently, of J. Rear Photography. And I wanted to welcome her to the group. This is the first photo I remember seeing from her. This is some sort of a Motorola, let's see, XT1097. That's, I forget what that is.
It might be the Moto G.
97. That is, no, that's a Moto X.
Moto
actually. X. That's a Moto X. Nice phone, I got to say. And this is a very nice photograph of, I'm assuming, a wheat or grass field. And one of the things that I like about it is that she did actually get a rainbow color in there, although I doubt if that's actually an actual rainbow. I think that's probably lens flare. What do you think?
Well, it's a rainbow lens flare.
Oh, true. Yeah, give you that.
Other than that, you know,
yeah.
But it's a nice picture.
Oh, yes, quite nice, Jen. Like it. Not so sure that I like it for this particular contest, no offense, but I do like the shot. But more than anything else, welcome to the group, and thank you very much for posting a photo. We appreciate it. I think, quite frankly, once you get more active in the community, we'll find some really great stuff from you, because this is a great photo that you've taken here. The hard part oftentimes is fitting the photo with the contest, and that's, you know, sometimes you just don't have the opportunity to do something.
I liked how she framed it.
Yep, it's very nice. It's well edited. It's well done, and I like the fact that there is a rainbow in it. So nice work there, Jen. Didn't get a lot of votes, but I do like it. Getting more in line with the spirit of non-cluttered colors is actually this shot by Tim McCusker, and I like it for its simplicity in terms of, I think we can all recognize what this is.
Yep, it's making me hungry.
Yep, that's because everything makes you hungry.
Well, I've been having my dessert.
Yeah, me neither. But Tim shot this with an LG G4 edited in Photoshop Express. I like the shot. I think, though, in the spirit of the contest, the way the description was written up, it did say with as minimal amount of distractions as possible. So, I mean, it's colorful, no doubt. The two things that I don't like about it are that it does appear to be blurred. I can't seem to find a single point on the whole thing that is actually in. I don't know. You didn't say, Tim, what you did in Photoshop Express, if that was intentional, if there was a color tweak, what you did exactly. But I would prefer it, I think, a little more in focus. And for whatever reason, the colors to me look like they've been shifted. They're not true to life, and I don't know if that means that they're oversaturated or if they're just off. And I don't know if that was done intentionally or if that was just a boo-boo on your part. I don't know. And that's one of the things that we'd like to have in the comments. You know, I changed the colors for this reason because it needed more punch, or because this didn't work or whatever. We weren't there when you took it, so it's kind of hard for us to play, critique it when we don't know the circumstances. So what do you think, Mike?
It's I kind of agree. Now I'm looking at it on my Retina computer. The only thing that's really in focus is Mickey, but the rest of it is a little blurry, and it looks like it is a little oversaturated, but it kind of makes the spirit of the challenge, because it is colorful, but yet
true.
But yet it is a little distracting with the I guess that piece of candy is coming out of the back that's stuck in there, or is it a straw or whatever?
Probably a candy cane, I would think, but I don't know. But I mean, if you look at it, he is using extremely low f-stop. So the depth of field is not going to be high, but I mean, I'm looking at it on my screen and I don't even think Mickey's in focus.
Well, yeah, that's also the difference between having a 4K monitor,
yeah, and a not.
Right. Yeah. And a browser that takes advantage of it. But yeah, as I said, it's a little, the really super focused part is the nose and the face. But other than that, the ears a little bit. But you're right. It's I like it, but yet I don't like it.
There we go. But always nice to have a photo from you, Tim. Your photos are generally quite good, so we always like to hear from you. Appreciate you putting something up. Let's see. Now, moving on into the colorful category, we have this shot here from Tony. I'm going to probably butcher this. Crescent, I think, is the way it's pronounced. And Tony obviously had the same problem I did, which was a lack of rainbows in the sky. But this is a very nice, colorful well, I was about to say bouquet, but that's clearly not
bucket?
Right. Yeah, bucket. This is a bucket of flowers. There they are, all dead, jammed in by the roots. No, this is a planter, I would say.
And how much are you in drink?
And here we go. Ant's not even here, and Mike Sweeney's not even here, and the bad jokes are still here. It's amazing. But no, this is a planter somewhere that she's run into. She says she took it last summer with her Droid Max. Can't really remember what she did, but she used Simply HDR and Snapseed to edit it, and then apparently did a little bit more in Pixlr for her watermarking. So I guess the majority of the editing was done in Simply HDR and Snapseed, but being, of course, a year out of date, I'm sure she can't remember what she did to it either. But I like the variety, not only of shapes, but of colors and also textures. This one particular planter has got a lot of variety in it. From that standpoint, I think, I don't know if I've ever seen a planter that had a larger variety of stuff in it in one place. And it really does have a virtual cornucopia of color, to coin a alliteration phrase. What do you think, Mike?
I like it too. I voted for it. It does meet all right, rainbowish. Well, there's many colors in it, so it meets the criteria, and it's not distracted. It's just an excellent picture, and I like the way she did with the HDR and all that, because it really makes the picture pop. I like it.
Pardon me. The only thing that I might have done differently, and this is just one of those things where, again, sometimes you look at it's so easy, folks. You don't realize it. When you're sitting here looking at somebody else's photo, you don't know where they were standing, why they were standing there. For all we know, that she's backed up against a phone booth and couldn't have moved. But I wonder, a phone booth. Yeah, right. 2014. Huh. Good luck. But
I saw one the other day in Dallas.
Yeah, it's probably the only one. But you wonder if maybe the region in the top upper right hand corner might have been, minimized, or somehow cropped out with the camera, so that was just the cornucopia of color floating you know, and not had the background there. On the other hand, does the background bring out the color more and make it easier to
Look,
contrast?
also, if you look at it carefully, look at all the different colors in the brick.
Yeah, that's true too.
So
Um,
there's that added to it. The brick has different colors in it
mm,
and all that. So that's probably why, because I know she was aiming at the flowers, but the brick itself has all these different colors in it. So that adds, to me, it adds a little bit to it.
yep. I think the one thing we were talking about last week, I think it um, was the use of even horizon and how that sometimes helps and sometimes hurts. In this particular case, I think I would have liked to have seen an edit where it was cropped down to just above this yellow flower here and kind of eliminated some of that concrete behind it. On the other hand, then that kind of screws up the texture over here. So it's one of those things where, you know, I might have come back and done it exactly the way Tony did. Because after all that, looked at it and went, nope, this is not any better, and just hit undo. And
Right.
right back to this. So, yeah. But yeah, I like this one, Tony. Nice effort. I like the photo. That is one that I think, quite frankly, I would be proud to have printed on my wall. Yeah. But anything you'd like to add on that one, Mike?
No, I just, she is really good and she just gets better and better.
Hey,
She's an excellent smartphone photographer.
there we go. That's high props there from someone that's in almost all the hangouts and sees a lot of stuff. So moving up the chain here in terms of the number of votes, taking third place here. By the way, there were 7 photos posted by 6 people. So normally we don't go through every single photo that we take, but with only 7, we figured we'd make an effort. This is from Nicole H. And
Again, expert.
yep. And this is now I'm also going to say this is quite possibly the best description of what was done here. We have a Samsung Galaxy S6 done with Photoshop Express. Punch up the clarity, punch up the sharpen, reduce the noise, contrast, shadows, highlights, exposure, and defog. All in what she did and the numbers. So that is just detailed technical analysis, Nicole. Perfect. A+ for the technical side of that. Thank you very much. That's exactly what we're looking for everybody else. Exactly what you did, and the numbers behind it. What do you think about this one, Mike?
I like it. Now, it does definitely, it is a rainbow. It has, it's very colorful. I like the way it cut, it fades off into, I think some of it she did in the post processing to make some of it a little bit blurry in the back, but just the way it just looks, I'm very impressed with it. She's another great photographer. But I am really and truly am impressed, and I like this one. It does meet everything, and you're right. All the processing and the numbers, that really helps.
You know, the only thing that I don't like about it, and don't take this as a criticism, Nicole, necessarily, is that I'm looking dead center at the frame, and that's not in focus. It's just to the left of that. And the way the band of color that is in focus, it kind of starts up here at the upper right and it bends down through just off center and then goes down here and kind of forms a loose diagonal through the frame. And I have to admit, it's causing my vision to swim just a little bit as I'm looking at it.
I don't want to vision that.
Well, maybe that's that 4K monitor. But it kind of reminds me of those old posters where you were supposed to, you'd stare at the poster and then you let your eyes kind of lose focus for a little bit. You'd see another image. And that's kind of how I feel when I'm looking at this, because I feel like my eyes are kind of being pulled off in different directions. But I do definitely
black light posters from the Beatles.
Yeah. But I do definitely like what you did here. The one thing you didn't say, Nicole, is what this is that you photographed. I'll grant you that it's not necessarily part of the story, but it is kind of interesting. I'm just wondering what this is. Because it's two it's too good to be, you know,
Uh-oh.
like a crayon drawing or something. Wallpaper border, maybe. I don't know.
You were siloning for a minute.
Oh, well, I was saying that the one thing that I don't the one thing that we don't know is what this is, what she's photographing, and I'm not sure what it is. I'm just curious. That's not a requirement, but I'm just curious as to what I'm looking at, because it's so edited and abstractly so that I can't tell what it is, and that's cool. But at the same time, I'm curious. So I don't know. What do you think?
I like to. You're right. I kind of like to. It's not necessarily, but necessary. But I know it's a. It might be. It might very well be a beach towel or something. Or it could be a piece of carpeting. I don't know.
Yep. I don't know either. But anyway, Nicole, great shot. Like it. Like what you're doing. Keep doing it. You always turn out some good stuff. So keep at it. Keep going. All right. So tied in the number 2 spot, we have a pair of shots. One from Tim McCusker and one from Michael Wilson. And let's see here. So let's, just for the sake of argument, let's take this one first. This is Michael Wilson, shot here. It says he took this with a Note 5, and it was edited in Snapseed. Doesn't really say what he did. I am assuming that he put a border on it, and that he did a center loose focus, would be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Michael Wilson is in fact some sort of a rep for PepsiCo, and so I'm just wondering, Rockstar Energy Drink. I'm just wondering, is Rockstar? Let's see, manufacturer Rockstar Inc. That is it. Apparently, it is not. It's not apparently owned by either of the big carbonated software drink companies.
Software?
Excuse me, soft drink. Yes, the carbonated software. Yeah. Quote of the night right there. Carbonated software. Gotta write that one down. Carbonated software. Companies. Yeah. And last week, folks, it was the artistical photography. This week, it's the carbonated software companies. Oh, Lord, I'm turning into my mother and screwing up words, and I'm doing it at 32. At least she had an excuse. She was old. And she started.
And yours?
Yeah, I don't have one. So anyway, here's what I like about this one. I like the ostentatious nature that it takes to point a note at a product shelf and take a picture in the middle of people. But no, I really like the use of the loose interpretation of what a rainbow is to get this shot, because I mean, this is literally a rainbow colored spread of cans. This is not what I think of traditionally when I think of a rainbow. I think of, big stripe of color through the sky after a rainstorm, but this is a great interpretation of it. And I like it. I like it for its creativity. I like it for the way he's got it edited. I personally don't think I would have done much different. I like what he's done here. And it does make me wonder what whipped strawberry tastes like. But, oh well.
Well, it's also whipped orange.
Yeah.
And I can't tell what it's pina colada or something.
Yep, pina colada.
Pink colada.
Yep, and then the other one is just orange. So I don't know what that means. But
I don't know what the green one is. Slime green.
Oh God, don't want to know.
But I do like it too. It is colorful. It does meet the challenge of, if you don't have a rainbow, multicolors, and You can't get more colorful than that. And I like the way he did it. And the center two cans are the sharpest in the way it fades out on either side. Some of that's probably in the editing, but I like it. I voted for it, and I was quite impressed with it.
I like it. I really do. Nice work, Michael. Not going to take anything away from that one at all. I like it. So anyway, moving on back to another one from Tim.
A real rainbow.
Ironically, this is the only, with the exception of this one from Gen R, that I'm pretty sure that's lens flare. This is actually the only actual rainbow shot that was taken. Which, when you think about the number of people that are in the community and the wide physical range that we're in, I mean, how many countries are we in now, Mike?
God, I don't know. We're all over. I know we're in Europe. I think we got people in Singapore. And
okay, so
I know we don't have anybody in Japan yet, or do we?
I don't know of anybody.
But
you have a better handle on the membership than I do.
And we do have some from Hawaii, but yeah, we're all over the place. But this is the very first. This is the only really rainbow.
But I like his description, a literal rainbow. But then editing in Snapseed, then Photoshop Express brought out more colors, shot with an LG G4. What do you think, Mike?
I like it. And plus, it's also something that's kind of rare, a double rainbow. You don't see many double rainbows.
Oh, no, don't start singing that song, please.
What, the Rainbow Connection?
No, the double rainbow song from YouTube. Please don't start singing that.
Oh, that one. Okay, no.
Yeah, don't start crying on the Hangout either.
Nah. No, but it is a double rainbow. But yeah, I again, this one definitely meets rainbow. Because that's basically how it was set, and it's uncluttered. And as I said, it's impressive. I like it. And as you said, as far around we are, I'm surprised. I guess most of the rain that's been coming in the state side has been coming at night. Every time the rain's over, there's no rainbow because it's dark.
Exactly. And up here, we've just had a cloudy week, so there really hasn't been a whole lot to work with in the literal rainbow department.
We'll have it next week. We should have some in between the little spinners that come around out of clouds.
Yep.
Because they're saying we're in for it again. Yep. And it could be another tea outbreak. And I mean,
fun.
And the spinning clouds that come down and touch ground and destroy stuff.
Lovely. It's a twister on the Anyway, back to Tim Shot here. I like what he's done. I like how he's punched up the colors.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I don't like is, and I think it's a consequence of the punching up of the colors, is that the area surrounding the lower part of the photo, surrounding the two rainbows, it appears kind of yellow and smog-like, which I guess is, like I say, probably just a consequence of the editing. I don't know if you could do anything about it, but that just kind of is distracting to me.
Well, a lot of that also still, a lot of it is still that there's still some mist around, so he probably got a little some that's in there. So
true.
But yeah, a lot of the editing, it kind of adds some stuff, and because of the light, there's a lot of grain in it. But that again doesn't bother me one bit. I like this.
But yeah, I like it. I really do. Nice work, Tim. I wonder, can you see, Mike, the notepad cropping tool? Is that on your screen?
No.
Oh, rats. Okay. Let me try. Let me alter the.
I don't have the Pruitt knowledge of how he crops everything. Whoa. Again, we're back to the cans. And we're back to
wrong shot. Okay, try that again. All right, so now do you see the wonderful notepad cropping tool? So
yeah,
I'm gonna go full screen on this puppy. Uh,
And when you go full screen, you lose it.
do I? Did I just lose it?
Yeah.
Okay. How about now? Back.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to take my handy dandy notepad cropping tool here, and I'm just going to kind of put this over this portion of the photo.
That
How do you
helps a
think
little bit.
about that?
It helps some.
Now, let me ask you this. Does that look better?
To be honest, I think it looked better the other way because you can, because one, when you did that, you have the other rainbow.
Yep.
And that little blowout in the end doesn't bother me because you still see the other rainbow.
Yep. 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 Just a thought. Just a thought. Of course, and the other thought would be come down here and chop off.
Now that one I've helped a little. Now bring your top part down just a little bit. All right, no, go right to the top of that building or sign, right there. That would have helped.
Yep.
Because nothing you can do about the lamp, the street lights.
Nope. But I mean, you could go
again. That kind of it's okay, but it kind of throws a little bit.
You know, don't know. Just saying. That's one of those things that whoops, there I go again, clicking on the wrong thing. It's just one of those things that you look at it and you go, well, maybe, and maybe it will work, maybe it wouldn't. Just a thought. Nothing, not detracting from it. I like it, Tim. The only literal rainbow we had this week. So nice work.
Right.
Like it. So there was, however, a clear winner by one vote, actually. 8 points over 7, the two-way tie. This is Jose Jalapeno. No, that's not it. Jose, I apologize. I'm going to butcher your last name, so I'm not even going to try. Jose M. And we do have a +8 on this one. So by one vote, we have this. I got to say, this is probably the most creative interpretation of the rainbow idea. The cans are nice, but this takes that to a whole nother level. What do you think
all
about
the
it,
colors
Mike?
It has what I like about it. It has all the colors you normally see in a rainbow: the reds, the blues, the greens, the whites, the brown, all the different colors of brown, pinks, chartreuse, everything. So it actually it has the colors, and I like, and it is very well done, and I like the sharpness of it, but it's just it hit the point.
Oh, very funny. The sharpened point. Very nice. Ugh. He says no. Shot with a Samsung S6 Edge.
Ooh, that's one of the new ones.
New phone. Yep. And he says tried to capture the colors and texture of the pencils. No edits, just cropped. So
He did a hell of a job. I really like that.
That's a really nice effort, particularly without a whole bunch of playing with it.
Very creative.
Yep, and that also means that he must have a very good depth of field and spot focus control on that S6 Edge, because that is clearly right in focus, right there in the dead center, and everything around it is blurred. And if he didn't do that with an editor and he did it only in the camera, nice work. I like what you did here. I'm not going to argue with it at all. I can't think of a single thing that I would have done differently. Honestly. And I don't know if I even would have thought of this particular shot. But I do also like the way that the background is uncluttered as it was supposed to be. And I just like it. Well done. Well done.
The more modern cameras of the 6S Plus, the 6S, the 6S Edge, the Note 5, and I think even they said the two new Nexus phones. They're finally all the cameras are actually getting caught up, and the software that runs it have caught up. So everybody's almost on the same playing field. Now it's just what's your preference? iOS, Android?
Yeah.
You notice I didn't say Windows.
Yeah. Well, we will take a smartphone photo from a Windows phone, folks. No,
I
not
think
don't hide
I've
it.
seen a few. They're just like in the real world. You don't see very many Windows phone.
Exactly. It's just the way things are, folks. It's pretty much Android and iPhones in this particular locale. And I think, ironically, in the photography space, I mean, we were talking on one of my other shows that I do called Attack the Androids, which is obviously all about Android phones. That 86% of the smartphone market, and I forget if that was a year of new purchases or whatever it was owned by Android. So to then figure out that a very that with a few variants there, you still got BlackBerry, you still got Windows Phone. So you figure that means that probably 12%, give or take, of the market is actually owned by iPhone devices. When you look at the number of people that are posting with iPhones in the photographers group, that we have here, it's much more evenly split
If you
than
if you go to
86 to
if,
to 9.
right, if you go to Flickr,
Mm,
almost 90% of the pictures
yep,
are iOS
yep,
of some kind. Then it comes in with Android. Then your standalone SLRs
yep,
and point and shoots.
yep. So what we're kind of before we get too far off the beaten path here. So Jose, great shot. It is now your turn. You, sir, are what we call on
On
the
the
hook.
clock.
You are on the hook, sir, to come up with the next challenge that we will all offer. Please contact one of the moderators, Ant, Mike, or the other Mike, and present your idea for the challenge. If you do not have the ability to post it yourself, someone will post it for you. And just set us up with something that you find interesting that we haven't shot for a while. So that could be just about anything. Let your imagination wander. Don't be afraid to say that you want to try a new photo technique and suggest everyone else try it too. We are open to suggestions. This forum is all about learning and showing examples.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we've got that out of the way, one thing I did want to mention specifically about my Nexus 6, which right here, I've actually become very impressed with its ability to do macros. That is not something that my previous phone had a great ability to do. And as a result, I was very frustrated trying to take those pictures. But I found that this one works extremely well on the macro side. And I think that has a lot to do with what we were just talking about with the spot focusing and depth of field control that the newer cameras and the newer software packages are producing. So have you noticed that, Mike? Has that gotten better for you? Or
Oh yeah. Well, the iPhone's always been really good for macro, but again with the newer phones, like I got to actually this week, my office manager got finally his contract was up, and he got his brand new 6S Plus, and I got to play with it with the peek, pock, and poop. What do you call that? The 3D touch. But I wanted to see some pictures, and oh God, I always thought the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus were good. It makes them look like junk.
really, that
Yes.
much of a difference?
Oh, it is. Well, also coming off 8 megapixel to 12, they've tweaked the software again,
Yep.
and it's just incredible. As I said, and I think the iPhone 6 Plus or the 6 and 6 Plus took good pictures. The new 6S Plus, and then I'm seeing these pictures coming off of the two brand new Nexus phones and the new Galaxies, the 6S Edge
Mm-hmm.
and the Note 5. I think everybody's cameras have gotten so good. Well, they had it. One thing they had to do when Windows phones were really coming out left and right. They were noted, those Nokia, when it was Nokia, they were noted for the cameras.
Yep.
And
Yep.
everybody said, "Oh, we got to catch up to them." And now Windows is it's still there. they still have some good phones. And I listen to Paul Thurrott, and he always tells, yeah, this one, the camera sucks on it, or this one's this, but he said some of the newer ones are a little bit better. But
Yep. Well, speaking of some of the newer ones, this is a picture that is not in the challenge this week. This is by Thomas Olson, and it was just posted in the, I think it was the general discussion section of the forum. And this is just exceptional.
It looks like an SLR picture.
Yeah, well, when I thought the same thing, and then I started reading the description here, and it's pro mode. Apparently, there's a pro mode on the Edge Plus, and he said it was trying to catch the Jack the Ripper feeling that night. Well, I would say that he probably did a darn good job.
Oh, yeah. Fog and everything.
4-second shutter time.
Incredible.
4-second exposure. 4.3 millimeters, f1.9, ISO 50.
Incredible. That is a hell of a shot.
Well, the thing is what's catching me is the thing that I have lamented / complained about ever since I started getting real serious with the smartphone as a camera, was the lack of the ability to do time exposures, because I do time exposures on a regular basis with my SLR. It's one of my preferred mediums, either with or without artificial light. And it was never possible. 4 seconds isn't a lot of time for me to do an artificially lit shot, but that could be done with a 4-second shutter. It would be difficult, but it could happen. And I'm jealous because I don't have this pro mode on my Nexus 6. And this is just yet another example of how far the technology has progressed, because this is a shot that, I mean, you wouldn't have gotten this 3 years ago.
Oh no. Hey, Joey, I forgot. Lisa Bettany, if you go to her site, you want to see how the progression of the iPhone came from the very original, all the way to the 6S.
Yep.
It's just between the two is night and day. So I'm saying, the smartphones, they're getting, it's gotten so good. As I said, I actually sold my Canon G10. That's it shot. Yes, it shot RAW, but it was my point and shoot. My smartphone now is my point and shoot, especially since the 6 Plus and now the 6S Plus. They're the only two of the iPhone line that, if I'm not mistaken, that had the image stabilization, because my hands shake so much, and it really helps. And it's so good, and I enjoy the whole thing with these phones. When I went to do the claims for our storms we had a couple weeks ago, I normally would use a point and shoot. I use my iPhone, and then of course put it into everything, and then send it off to the home office, and then took it off the phone because it is private, people's possessions, and I don't want them to go all over the place. So I quickly deleted them off the phone. But once I got everything and got where it needs to be, and I'm using that for my for claims.
Right. The point that you're getting at, I think what you're trying to say is that the technology of the phone has come up to the level of and or exceeded the expectations out of a point and shoot camera. So the need to have the point and shoot camera at this point is basically non-existent.
Right.
Yeah.
It's no, you don't need, it's only time now when I want to get serious for doing serious photography, I will bring out either my 5D Mark III or my 7D. One's full frame, the other one's the crop sensor, but I'll bring it out for serious, like when I do rail fanning.
My concern in the whole world, so to speak, is that I got started with point and shoot cameras because at the time that I was starting in photography as a serious hobby, we're talking, I got serious probably in 2004 ish. But I started in 2002 with point and shoot cameras. And it, at the time, the smartphone camera didn't exist. The smartphone didn't exist. So there was no option. You wanted a camera, you bought a camera. And that was just how things were done. But one of the things that you got out of that was a physical moving zoom lens. And you didn't get this digital zoom crap, which, by the way, for anybody that cares, digital zoom is nothing more than a fancy word for cropping. It's not actually zooming. It's reducing the amount of information that you see so that what you see appears to be bigger when in fact it's not. It's smaller or the same size, and you're just
right.
looking at
That's the big advantage of today's smartphones with these bigger megapixel sensors. That
yes.
because they do, um, and most everybody they when they want to zoom in, they just actually take the full picture, full frame with all the info, and then actually crop where they want to get it to zoom in. But yeah, that's the only thing about smartphones. They No one yet has a optical zoom. It's all digital.
Well,
I
I
don't know if
think
they ever
somebody
will.
actually did come out with an optical zoom, if I remember correctly, because it came across the radar, but it was a model of phone that I can't even remember if it was released in the US, but it did have a optical zoom camera. And at the time, the problem was basically that it was overpriced and the megapixel count wasn't there. And the smartphone photographer community that we have didn't exist. And I don't think smartphones as a legitimate useful photography medium had yet hit because the resolution was so low that
Right.
you couldn't really do anything with it. So to then have the physical zoom on it just drove the cost up, and it was one more thing to break, and it was a kind of a stuck out of the camera back and whatnot. So it'd be the first thing that would hit if it
Hmm.
fell, and there's a lot of issues with it, and I think that we've kind of gone back to this wide angle, almost pinhole type or fisheye type of lens that is actually quite distorted at the ends and very good in the center.
Yeah.
And the concern that I have is that photographers, when they graduate from a smartphone, to coin a phrase, there's nothing between smartphone and SLR now
You still
because the
have
point and shoots are going away.
uh you'll still have the higher end point and shoots, the ones that
Nope.
actually do. You have a few, but now also the low end SLRs are point and shoot prices now. They're about 500.
That's
And
what I'm saying. The
but
prices on the low end SLRs have come down. The smartphone quality has gone up. The point and shoot, the cheap point and shoot camera has gotten squeezed out of the middle because there's no more middle.
right. Every with like when my as you were talking about, I started with the SLR film
Mm-hmm.
camera.
Yep.
And then I moved on. My first digital camera was the a Crackberry,
Hmm.
and it wasn't a very good camera. So and then I finally got into the when the SLRs really came down in price, because the first SLRs were just like today's uh, high end 4K televisions.
Oh yeah, yeah. And in 2 years, it'll be half the price and twice as good and available from 14 more people.
Right.
And it's just the way electronics goes.
But
Uh,
but every time I see these cameras, they're just getting better. And in fact, the iPad Pro has a hell of a camera. It
mm,
costs a hell of a lot of money. It's
mm.
almost it's when you get all the stuff you want with it, it's a laptop price.
Yeah, yeah.
But it has a fabulous uh I think 12 megapixel camera in the back. The front one's still a HD camera for your front camera. And the smartphone slash tablet cameras are getting so much better. I'm talking from everybody's, from the Surface all the way down to the to some of the newer Android tablets.
Oh yeah. Yep. And I'll tell you one thing. I remember when we talked about this on Attack of the Androids years ago, when cameras started to really become a selling feature on tablets. We made the crack at the time that nobody is going to walk around holding their iPad up, you know, to take a picture. And yet, you know what? I see people doing it. And I gotta tell you, the demographic, honestly, seems to be older folks that can't see a smaller screen.
Yeah. All right.
You know,
the last time, this is before 844 got screwed up, and I went out of town. I went to Cheyenne. It was the rodeo run that they go from Cheyenne to Denver and back.
Yep.
I rode that both ways, and when they did the photo run by, half the people had iPads taking pictures. The other half was with a mixture of your high-end SLRs to your smartphone. But the majority of them were iPads, and most of them were older people, but they had this. Just always I look back and I just started, I took a picture of that, of all the iPads up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I've seen that too. And I kind of laugh. But I mean, hey, to each his own. At least on a screen that size, you can actually see what you're shooting. I mean, that's one of my complaints about even with my SLR is that,
and it's so stable because from either the iPad Mini or the iPad Air, it's so big or big enough that you can actually keep it steady compared to the little smartphone, which is easily you can jitter it a little bit.
Yep. And you can actually get a feeling for what the photo looks like on a big screen on a tablet. You can't really do that. Even on a 6-inch smartphone, you really can't get a feel for how it would look on a 24-inch screen, for instance. But anyway, we've been chit-chatting here now for just about an hour, so I suppose it's time to wrap it up. Anything else you want to bring up real quick, Mike?
No, I think you're right. I think it's time for us to sign off and do everything.
All righty. Well, in that case, why don't you start with us? Tell us where we can find you and your photography online.
I can be found either as Michael King or Michael King 4023 anywhere. Generally, it's Facebook, Google Plus, Flickr, and of those, I do have a Smug Mug, but I don't use it that much.
All right, Mike, as always, a pleasure to see you in here every week, or just about every week, and always nice to talk with you. And for myself, you can find me at Joey, Joey Kelly, KELLEY.com. If you spell Kelly wrong, you will get somebody else, either a guy in Louisiana, or if you really spell it wrong, you'll get a circus in the middle of Iowa. Joey, Joey Kelly, KELLEY.com. From there, you'll find links to my photo site, my Twitter, my Google Plus, my Facebook, this, that, and everything else, and a little bit about me besides. So I'd like to thank all of our contributors this week. Don't forget, Jose, you're on the hook to give us a challenge for next week. And on behalf of myself and all of the moderators for the Smartphone Photographers community, I'd like to thank you for watching Point and Shoot. Have a great week and happy shooting.